Welcome to yet another edition of Kasuku Live. Olunaku olwaleero tusinzidde wano ku Yaya Extra Residence. Tugenda kuba twogera Luzungu tutawekemu Oluganda as usual nja duyimiriramu. Then he'll do most of the English. However, kotategedde mu Luzungu mbuuza nkakuddiremu because era nze mugezi waabwe. Okitegeera. Nze mugezi wammwe. So twagala webuze mbeera. So welcome to Kasuku Live.
Thank you.
Have you watched Kasuku Live before?
No. Really
do you subscribe to my channel?
Very much.
So how are you doing?
I'm very well.
Madali nga ne mukulyamu nga tolya nga oli ku diet. You on diet?
Enaku zino twogera ku NCDs, pressure, Sukaali, so
biva kulya nnyo.
They have direction that side. Especially
pressure, Sukaali. So you saw me eating chicken and you're like, oh.
I actually felt sorry for you.
But I didn't eat it in huge amounts. Olabye omusajja bankubye olusekero enkoko. Kandyeyo akafi. Omuntu analya ekintu wano nga kikyenka kiki. So how are you doing? First, abuuza ku bantu abatulaba na manyago and then we kick off.
Mujebaleko. You're all welcome to Kasuku Live. I'm glad to be here.
Okay.
Dr. Becca Bakashava, I'm the project director for AIC in Soroti region on a CDC funded project that oversees HIV, TB in the Teso sub-region. Glad to be here and to discuss matters patient-centered care.
Okay. So you've come from Soroti?
Yeah.
To here. They told me Soroti has a lot of mangoes.
Mangoes, the season is actually on right now. Very nice.
So there's lots of mangoes there.
Very nice citrus, oranges, tangerines. So we eat that a lot. That's why we look the way we look.
But you from your name, you come from the west.
Yeah, I come from Isinjiro actually.
Isinjiro. So how does it feel like crossing from one extreme end
of
the country to the east, the extreme end of the east?
It feels good. It was a challenge at the start, but you actually realize that from our training as doctors, they train you to work in every part of the country, every part of the world. So it's actually been an honor to work in Soroti.
But don't patients there say, "Oh, doctor, you look hot. You are more stiff."
But we work.
So we are running a campaign where we are bringing drugs closer to the people.
Exactly.
Yeah? Who birthed the idea?
I would say the idea of bringing drugs to the people. It's been on for almost the time when we've had access to ARVs, universal access to ARVs from around 2000. This started with PEPFAR in 2004, but from around 2006, some of the organizations like TASO, the AIDS Support Organization, actually started taking drugs closer to the people. And I'm glad that in my earlier work, I worked there and I saw what it means to actually listen to the patients and take drugs where they are closest. Because
you worked in TASO?
Yeah. I worked there
really?
about 12 years. So I recently left.
You were in TASO for 12 years?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I'm going to have to diverge a bit from there. So does your life stay the same when you see these people come in? There are scenes where we see people who have really been battered by, the illness. Does your life stay the same?
I would say yes, it touches you.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, your biggest interest is in actually seeing that these people improve. And better. The joy of every health worker is actually seeing this picture of someone coming in, probably brought in on a wheelchair or carried, and then a few months later, they're actually able to walk by themselves. A year or so, they're actually working and probably bringing a chicken or a bunch of matoke to say thank you. I was almost dying, and here I am. I'm able to do this and this. I'm paying for my children, they're back to school, I'm building a house, and you see life getting back. So that's the joy that pushes us to actually do the work that we are doing. But also, very importantly, we've seen young people that were very sick get better, start families, get children that are HIV free, and see them through school. So really the program is working.
But how have you guys been able to build these networks? One time I was in Chibale, you know Chibale after Kochi, that side there. And people were getting these drugs. How do you build these networks? Like, you know, like someone deep in the village can still get drugs.
So what happens is, as people, initially, everyone used to come to the health facility to get treatment. And what happened with that is that the numbers were big. As you can imagine, there are 1.4 million people living with HIV in Uganda. We have about 2,500 health facilities that offer treatment. And where some of these are in the urban centers, they get really congested. There are clinics that have 8,000 people. And on a clinic day, you'd find 200 or 300 people coming at 5, and by 8, when the clinic opens, there are so many. So what happened is, and people, of course, were complaining, we are spending too much time here. We have a life to live. We have gardens to tend to and work, and especially in the urban centers, people are on their jobs, they are being held at the clinic. So what happens is, as we listen to these, to the people living with HIV, the people that receive care, we actually realize we have to do something. And that's how these ideas came into play. That now people then organize themselves to actually say, we are in this community, it's 15 kilometers from the health facility. Can you be able to bring for us drugs every 3 months? And then we take from there. And when that's magnified across the country, we actually realized that in the urban centers, we could do the same with the pharmacies. That people are near pharmacies, retail pharmacies, we could actually work with them for people to access drug treatment from there. And the good thing now is that they are not just accessing HIV treatment, they can also get treatment for the other non-communicable diseases. The pressure, Sukaali.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that. Oh, maybe. Okay, I wanted to ask you, but I may forget. So this, like we've been saying on the channel, that you can get these drugs at your nearest health center or pharmacy. So how does this work? Let me say I'm in Mitiana.
Okay.
Mitiana town. Okay. No, let's say Mitiana owayewa mwewa eri mukyalo Bulera. And then there's Mitiana main hospital. So do I tell the people at the hospital that deliver these drugs here, or you're just supplying them? When I go to the nearest pharmacy to me, I register there? We need to know, how do you get to that place to receive those drugs instead of going there?
So ekisooka buli kimu kitandikira clinic gy'obeerako gy'ofunirako eddagala. So they arrange with the pharmacy and assess it to see that it's suitable to provide that, because not every pharmacy will be suitable. But also because we need to drive efficiencies, tuwerenga tukozesa sente entono okutuusa eddagala ku bantu. So we usually need numbers, especially the bigger clinics where the problem of congestion is bigger. So they arrange with the pharmacy and say, we have identified this pharmacy that can be able to serve
this number of people. And
then they are now able to tell the clients that instead of coming here, which is a lot of distance and you're spending a lot of time, osobola ogenda ku pharmacy eno n'ofuna eddagala.
So mugenda kukola nga Catholic Church oba nga government bwe muweera nga tubawa district.
Exactly.
So Catholic Church, they say when you get to a certain number of people, they give you a parish.
Exactly. Actually, in some of the literature, this kind of approach is called decentralized drug distribution, which is really decentralization. So that taking means, services closer to the people.
So that means if you are, let me say, you're in Chanja, and the nearest you can get the drugs is Bukoto, yet you have a pharmacy in Chanja, but because you're not under a given number of people, you'll still have to go the farthest to get it.
But there are other arrangements You can actually get in a group of fellow people who are receiving treatment of about 10. One of you goes,
Picks for the rest,
and distributes to the others.
Oh, so there is
Very
also
cheap.
that option.
You don't spend a lot of time, and also you create this group dynamics that you are able to support each other through the treatment.
There's a room I had years ago. They said these drugs for HIV, you just can't walk into a pharmacy and say, get me ARVs. They have to be prescribed with a letter. Is that true?
Yes. Ideally, these are drugs that you need a prescription. And the good thing is that right now in Uganda, there's been a lot of task shifting. So there are countries, even previous in Uganda, you needed a medical doctor, sometimes a physician, to prescribe these drugs.
Yeah.
But right now, a lot of people have been trained, even clinical officers, they are able, in a health facility, to prescribe this treatment. And sometimes, when they go for testing outreaches in the community, and you test, let's say, baze wano kuyaya extra, abantu nga bali mu kukyakala ne bateeka wali tent, ne bagamba baagala okukebeza mujje, ne bakukebera ne bakusanga ng'olina akawuka, they can prescribe even in the middle of the evening. And you start
nali wali ku classroom ekyanja abasajja nga bazze batestinga buli atestinga soda ne mbaga tukirinyiseemu buli atestinga chupa ya whisky ngamba Kasuku oyagala soola mirimo lwaki otulwanisa ne nteekawo ne mbagawo why
sajja bayizo the incentives, but the fact that you are making services, taking services closer people.
It's very important.
These are people that are likely to miss out and then identify late. And
I heard they say if you miss like a stage of treatment, the risks get higher.
Exactly. So we encourage people to really adhere to treatment. Most of the drugs that we have now, umira mpeke moro naku.
Oh.
So it's no longer as tough as it was
so
5 or 10 years ago.
Those years you could swallow like how many?
At the start, up to about 6 pills.
A day?
Wogatako ne septrin gwebamiranga. Naye kati one
tab like this?
Yes.
But it's
with
big?
Less, slightly big, but manageable. Less side effects, so someone can easily adhere.
There is a friend of mine, we are working together at Spark TV. So he went and had unprotected sex. There is that thing they swallow after. There is one they swallow before, then the other after. They confuse me. PrEP and PrEP.
So after post-exposure prophylaxis, that is after, and PrEP is before pre-exposure prophylaxis.
Naye akakantu ka PrEP nga kali bloody. Kuba omanyi nti obeera weewaddeyo. Nti ekyano okiraba oti n'ogamba mbabuulire. Newankubadde. Will be the head. PrEP.
Yeah, we encourage it for people that are assess their risk and they think they are at an increased risk of HIV acquisition. You're better off.
Now they can't use condoms.
PrEP. I mean, there are sex workers, for example, who are in the trade of sex.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can't.
They can't. Yeah.
They can't use protection all the time with some clients. So when they assess that risk, and we've seen testimonies, people that have been on PrEP for 3 years, they are sex workers and they are HIV free. Or people that are in discordant relationships.
I was going to ask you a question. Then I remembered you've never taken a PEP. Have you ever taken PEP?
No.
PEP is the one after.
The one after? No, I haven't.
Because I wanted to finish the story.
No, but you can. I would be able to relate.
My guy told me after he swallowed the PEP, you don't know, but you have to swallow it for 30 days.
Yes, ideally.
The drug. Yeah.
Ideally.
So 1 tab every day.
Yes.
He told me those were the worst nights he had.
Yeah.
He would be sleeping. He sees his grandfather who died years ago. Telling him, please come.
How many years back?
That is like 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 maybe. But now the drugs we use for PEP, like, because many of the advances have been made, the drugs we use for PEP that we use for PrEP do not have those particular side effects. that side effect was major associated with a drug called the Adherence that they would take as part
so
of the PEP.
so there were drugs that could give you nightmares.
So that's a particular side effect of a certain drug. But now they are a lot safer. The people that are taking PrEP and PEP these days.
No, nze yabinyumiza nga ndowooza asaaga.
No, it's
So the
true.
drugs, there are some drugs you take.
Yes.
Kubanga ng'ola eddagala lya ssenyiga lyennamirako lumu nga ndootaloota ebintu bye zitategeera.
Exactly. So usually those are side
There are
effects.
those drugs, eh?
You can, when it gets too much, you can always get back with the health worker. Now choose them, but at the time, that was the best drug with much less side effects compared to others. But right now, it causes.
I thought like you guys, it was kidding.
No. It was real. It was real, and it was also part of treatment. So even the patients that were receiving that would actually report the same. But
So,
after some time, they get.
Now I've seen with the material going around. So you're bringing closer HIV drugs, hypertension,
Exactly.
diabetes.
Exactly.
So is there a way these three mix?
Yeah.
Or
so,
you're just handling all these patients at once?
So what we are doing now is making, because people are now on HIV treatment and they are living healthy lives, living up to 60, 70. Now you find that people are now more likely to die from hypertension and diabetes, which are really diseases of old age, but also lifestyle. Nga marriage tulia. So what we are doing now is to make sure that someone who is doing well on HIV treatment does not die of hypertension. So we are screening everyone.
Hypertension,
pressure.
bagita pressure mu Luganda, bagita pressure. Oba tani yakayiyaako bannange.
Era pressure ebe nnyo. Era pressure ebe nnyo.
Mupulira pressure ninye.
Yeah. So kyetukola kati every patient that comes to the health facility, even when they are coming for HIV treatment, we screen them for hypertension, for pressure, for diabetes, Sukaali, for mental illness, especially depression, so that if they need treatment, we can actually start them on treatment. And we can then integrate these.
So
edagala
those
bw'oba
drugs are
clinic.
for, that combo is for HIV patients.
Yes, but even those that do not have HIV certainly suffer from
Hypertension and diabetes.
So the encouragement is that people should be screened all the time, and especially those above 40, make sure that on a regular basis
you check for those.
Check, and it's very simple. Pressure bagikebera just.
Do you guys have like your own clinics? Or your about HIV and this program you're all on? Are there specific clinics like this is for HIV, or you work under hospitals?
So
just have departments in there.
Like I said, mu Uganda kati mulimu amalwaliro agawera 25,000 oba 27 agawa eddagala lya HIV. Now many of these are actually government health facilities. About 80% of these are government health hospitals, regional referrals, general hospitals, health center 4s and 3s, and some health center 2s.
Yeah.
But also there are private health facilities and private not-for-profit. Ganamarayo go here, Rubaga, Nsambya, Gonago Gajanjaba. But on top of that, there are some few dedicated HIV clinics. Ngaka tuwulira AIC. Tuina clinics ezaffe. Nga 12 across the country, specifically for HIV. Taso, HIV clinic. Beira, HIV clinic.
Beira, Uganda.
But generally, most of the people go to facilities that are general, that offer general care.
Bana abali esseguku wano bebani?
Mild May.
Mild May.
Yeah.
I think for me, for long, that is the only hospital I knew that deals with HIV.
Era kati bwe walaba batransforminga. They used to treat only HIV at the time, but right now it's a fully fledged hospital that provides all these services that you can expect, but still with a lot of
when we used
care
to pass
for
there, my judge used to tell us, awo no bajjanjabirawo basiriimu awo
But now,
bajjanjabirawo ba Silimu.
nga bw'olabye now, not anymore. Anyone can walk in, ayina pressure, ayina Sukaali.
Then we had a friend of ours we used to work with at Dembe, and he had HIV. So he would tell us stories. He used to get there to get drugs, and would tell us, you people, be careful. Ffe tugenda okufuna eddagala awo naye ebyana birabika bulungi bitiba butibibe biti tosobola kumanya nti kirwadde.
Era that's our goal kuba people should be healthy. You don't have to be defined by the disease that you have, because imagine how many Ugandans are walking around with nga balwadde ba pressure naye tekibeetimba kontono ayina pressure.
Yeah.
So ne HIV people start treatment ale nga tebanabeera bubi era basigala nga balabika bulungi.
Okay. The conversation will continue, but of course during our subsequent interviews we shall be telling you the different places where you can be able to call and access drugs that can be able to help those with HIV, diabetes and hypertension. I'm just trying to get here the number so that I can read it out loud for people to know how they can get in touch. Africa Resource Center, Ministry of Health and USAID. By the way, I was arguing with someone. Is it USAID or USAID?
Anyway you say it, kisinziira oba wagenda mu nasale oba watandikira mu P1.
USAID edda ye yaliko obutono gwabekutte mu ngalo.
From the American
yes,
people.
like this. There are tins of oil that used to come when they are shaking hands like
exactly.
this.
So logo yakyuka, but
then
the word
that from the American people.
From the American
so
people.
They removed the word from the American people.
But it's still from the American
So they just kept it USAID.
Yes.
So they are saying you can now get your drugs, medicine for HIV, hypertension, diabetes, and family planning services from a pharmacy of your choice. He has explained, mwekola mu group, ne bateka ku pharmacy gye mugendamu. Abo abali ewala naye nga muli isolated, musobolera okwekola mu group, ne mukwatayo omuntu omu, n'abeera nga asobola okugenda ate ye n'abaleetera eddagala, buli omu n'amuweerera. Sibe kiri? Yes. So bagamba nti ne ba relatives b'abantu abalina HIV, pressure, gravita hypertension, diabetes, you are encouraged to tell these people to go visit their most convenient pharmacy. They get these drugs. Guys, the faster you begin the drugs, the better. And the more you keep on the drugs, the better. We have seen people who have lived with HIV for over 50 years. They are 80 years. Bobako wabuko inaga katonda ngompanga azize chimala. And then there is you who feels like, I can't get HIV. I want to start drugs. We are going to bury you, my friend.
And life will continue.
And in African tradition, we bury you and we urge you for your things. To be kaya ni labana ne batafunako wadde.
Exactly.
So do the needful. These guys have been running, Ministry of Health and USAID have been running various campaigns. Last year we were talking about testing. And I'm very happy most people picked the advice of testing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've seen so many people in bars in other places where they have those kits. They do this and
within 15 minutes.
Very simple.
Yeah,
and you go and you action. Now we are saying.
We still encourage you to use condoms.
Yes, of course.
It's very important.
But I think now that should come if we are trying to control birth rate. Because after you and you're negative, my friend.
There are many other things. There are other STIs.
Do you know the joy of going direct?
There are other things that are involved. Gonorrhea ekyaliyo so temubyerabira ate biruma
naye eddagala mwalisembeza kumpi eryo ndio tujja kugamba nti USAID ne ministry eddagala baalisembeza banaatujjanjaba. Those days they used to say gonorrhea is a disease for heroes.
Abazira.
Bulwadde bw'abazira. Like the way it pains you. If you survive and stay alive, you are a hero.
It teaches, man, you see people disciplined after that.
Okay. So after the testing phase we talked about, now we are here saying, if you're positive, we are bringing the drugs closer to you. Just get in touch with us. If you want more information, you can call our toll-free number is 0800 211 046. It's 0800 211 046. So, don't say, mayibabeere mga nti bannaye tebatuyambye Kasuku Live mwe mubeera mu byakusaaga byokka. I'm bringing your content. I want you alive. So that as you take chicken this side you bring cow.
But
You say Kasuku, you showed us people, they treated us, they brought drugs, we are now healthy. Dr. Chicken, Kasuku cow. Not so?
Very good. That will be very good.
So I hope you guys get the message and act accordingly. And thank you, Doctor, for sparing a minute from Soroti to here. When do I see you next? I want to make sure as you're coming, you bring me mangoes.
Also chicken. There's very nice chicken there, oranges.
But do they have enkoko nganda?
Baziyita nteeso naye era zifaanana n'enganda.
Kati naye bagamba nti enkoko enteeso. Wabula bannange. Mubeere bulungi mweraba.